LiteFM welcomes Joyce Ching.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Joyce.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Joyce, what inspired you to join Teach for Malaysia after reading psychology in university?
I think what really inspired me was the mission to end education inequity. If I may be completely honest, when I was reading my psychology degree in my final year, I actually thought I might go on to do a PhD in clinical psychology. However, I was only waitlisted for the PhD positions, and I thought, why not give it a chance and take a gap year or so? So I was looking around for something meaningful to do, especially if I could contribute back to my country.
Yes.
And I stumbled upon Teach for Malaysia. So instead of taking a gap year, I decided to take a gap 2 years and join Teach for Malaysia.
How was that experience like for you?
It was very fulfilling. No doubt there were many challenges. Some of them were, you're going into a new place and change is different or difficult. But I think at the end of the day, just seeing that the kids could really use education to change their life trajectory, that really nailed it for me. So I decided to stay on beyond my 2-year fellowship and even now just pursuing a career in education. So yeah.
What a departure from what you originally wanted to do, psychology
Yeah.
to this.
As you mentioned in your fellowship, during your 2-year fellowship, you had co-founded Project ID, which is a social enterprise which helps Form 1 students identify, plan for, and also work towards their ambitions in life.
Yeah.
What we're wondering is, how did you get the kids to open up to you about their dreams and what they wanted to become? Was it easier for some compared to others? Did it take some guidance on your part?
Yeah, definitely. I think trust is essential, and building that trust with the kids, I think it wasn't easy at first, especially you're coming from such a different background from them. So I think it's just, after a while, if you could just show that you sincerely care for them and their families, I think that really was a big win for me at least.
That's amazing. Joyce Ching is with us this morning. Now, she is a former teacher for Teach for Malaysia, sharing stories of how she's inspired high-needs students this morning. Now, when we return, Joyce talks about one of those students who did a complete 180, went from being an introvert to someone with a whole lot of self-confidence. Shukri's story is next on LiteFM. To quote our guest this morning, Joyce Ching, a former Teach for Malaysia fellow in 2012, she says to her, education is that which shapes a person's thoughts, without which an individual is void of an identity. Joyce Ching is with us this morning.
Joyce, tell us more about Project ID, specifically Shukri, who's one of your success stories from this project.
So Cikgu is one of my students. I met him when he was in Form 1. That time I was teaching him science. And he was really a very quiet kid. He didn't really have much self-confidence and he had low self-esteem, and people would just pick on him for being, soft. But clearly I could see that there's a lot of potential in this kid. He was determined and he would go the extra mile. It's just that probably he didn't really have the right opportunity to flourish. So then I encouraged him to join Project ID. And through this, he actually gained a lot more confidence. And also, he gained some skills, such as leadership skills. And we could see that from then on, his trajectory was quite different as compared to before.
Okay, can you tell us about Project ID?
So it's a year-long program. The main purpose to help kids identify, plan for, and work towards their ambitions in life. But we do this by instilling our core values, which are zest, grit, and collaboration. So I think the main lever for Shukri's life was just that act of putting him in a position where he's uncomfortable, that he wants to do something about it. So I think giving him that opportunity to just define who he is or who he wants to be, that was really powerful. Yeah. So from then on, although Project ID was a program, I think he took ownership of his own learning and he took ownership of who he wants to be.
And you said that came from putting him in an uncomfortable position.
Yes.
How was that?
So he was a quiet kid, very shy. And the program actually requires
pushed him out of his comfort zone.
Yes. I think that was the main lever of change in his life. I guess it applies to our lives as well.
Yep, very true. Sometimes we get too complacent just because we are in a comfort zone. With us this morning, Joyce Ching, a teacher for Teach for Malaysia from 2012. She was a fellow who had shaped the minds of so many students, including those from the lower income bracket who lacked self-confidence and didn't want to even pursue their dreams. Joyce shares with us how that changed next on LiteFM. Happy to have Joyce with us this morning.
Could you share with us some of your student stories? What were the challenges they faced?
Yeah, so I think many of my kids, they come from the lower socioeconomic background category. Their parents either work in the port as lorry drivers or just quite difficult life. Seeing that, I think the main success that I would say happening in my kids was the confidence level just to own and to have their own dreams, because I think coming from that societal background, there wasn't much hope placed upon them to achieve greatness. Let's put it that way. So just seeing them believe that they could achieve something meaningful in their lives, that was a big success to me.
And how did you assist them in this aspect?
What Project ID sought to do was to increase that access and also increase that character development, which is a lot to do with holistic children development instead of just focusing on the academic achievement part of it, although that's also very important.
All right. And what have been the most rewarding moments as a teacher for you?
For me, I think it's just seeing my kids be happy and also improve in terms of their academic achievement as well. So although we did not target that to begin with, but the whole character development, the whole gearing towards ambitions actually drove their academic achievement as well. So that's really nice to see as an aside.
Wow. And it's really, you don't realize actually how far reaching your efforts are until you see them blossom. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Certainly is. Joyce Ching with us this morning. She was a Teach for Malaysia fellow in 2012. Now, as a student, I remember giving my teacher a hard time, not wanting to pay attention. Joyce explains how she got her class's attention next on LiteFM.
Having studied psychology, are there different approaches to be used when teaching different types of students, say?
Different learners have different needs and different ways of learning. So I think my background really helped me to kind of understand and differentiate my approach towards them.
What are some of the best methods you found to nurture their interest and hold their attention?
Oh, wow, that's a very good question. I think visual aids definitely help. So colors, these are like just some very tangible things that could be used quite easily. The other thing that is very useful is just celebrating their small successes.
Yeah.
So every little small thing that they are doing well, you need to pick on them rather than picking on their faults.
Yes.
So yeah, that goes a long way.
What do you feel that teachers can do to further nurture the relationships with their students?
I think teachers could do more by being listeners. So what I mean by that is rather than just doing and just trying to impart knowledge, but I think what we could do is sometimes to just take a step back and listen to them, because they will wow you.
Fantastic.
It's been a pleasure having you with us this morning, Joyce. Thanks so much for sharing your stories with us.
All right, have a good day.
Yep, you guys too.
Now, Teach for Malaysia is currently running the hashtag Empowered to Unlock My Potential campaign, which aims to continue running its fellowship programs. This campaign is to help place teachers of caliber in schools with underprivileged and high-need students. Find out more at teachformalaysia.org. If you missed out on the interview with Joyce Ching, feel free to listen to our podcast at litefm.com.my.